The world is going through a period of deglobalization, and it seems that the latest casualty, or the latest one under attack, is the Grenada Citizenship by Investment program. In particular, the US has launched a little bit of an offensive for people who would like to buy Grenadian citizenships, and that has brought with it a bunch of different negatives related to E2 visa access, related to who can apply, and in particular targeting people from Russia and Belarus. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about that and why, if you're interested in buying a new citizenship, Grenada may not be as attractive as it once was. So let's dive in. Before we do, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, hit the whole notification bell. Thank you for being here with us. I am Michael from Offshore Citizen. If it is your first time, thank you for being with us on the channel. We really appreciate your support. And here we are global international relocation and tax experts. And so our team works with people to help them figure out what is the best solution for them if they're interested in more freedom and relocating abroad and lowering their global tax, etc., as well as helping them to implement those strategies. And so if you're interested in any of that, you can please reach out to me. You can book a call, calendly.com/Michael-Rosmer. There's a link in the description below, or send a message through offshorecitizen.net. Okay, so very quickly, for those who are not familiar, bringing you up to speed, there are 5 Caribbean countries that offer citizenship by investment, which means that you can essentially pay to have access to their passport. So people who are interested in buying a second passport, either to say renounce their US citizenship, gain themselves more visa-free access to the world, or simply have some sort of a backup plan in case who knows what goes on in the world. There is St. Lucia, St. Kitts, Dominica, Grenada, and Antigua that all sell their passport, and it's actually a really big part of the GDP in those countries, and it adds quite a lot to what goes on. You can go and see some interviews that I've done previously with the heads of the program for Antigua, as an example, as well as Malta, which is one of the European countries that offers it, some of their programs. You used to have Cyprus, you used to have a bunch of them. Vanuatu is still there, Turkey is still there, a couple others. But mainly the most popular are these 5 Caribbean countries. And the most expensive of these is Grenada. Grenada, for those who are not familiar, is below the hurricane belt. And so, you know, a little bit, if your person is actually going to go physically spend time there, it's kind of nice to be able to access that. But it was unique for quite a while in 2 key ways. One was it gave visa-free access to China. And later on, more recently, Dominica has added visa-free access to China as well, so that advantage is taken away. But the second was you got E2 visa access. And so I was frequently seeing people who were interested in renouncing their US citizenship who wanted to be able to gain access back to the US, maybe if they were going to have struggles with a tourist visa, being able to do so by investing in a business in the US and gaining an E2 visa. They most of the time wouldn't need it, but if you were in a situation where you wanted some sort of a backup plan, you have family there or something, this was convenient and helpful. Well, what has happened is that the US has come out and done a few things. First of all, they have gone and they have largely taken away that E2 visa access for Grenada passport holders. Now you will need to have actually lived in Grenada for at least the last 3 years in order to qualify. So that's one thing out that kind of decreases the value of the passport. Now keep in mind, this is the only one of the 5 passports in the Caribbean, aside from St. Kitts, that charges a $150,000 donation. Normally it's $100,000 plus, and there's other different options. So it was already basically the most expensive option. And you could kind of argue that because you'd say, okay, well, you get visa-free access to China and you get this E2 visa access. Well, now you can get visa-free access to China through Dominica and you don't get E2 visa access. And so probably it's an overpriced option. Now, this brings us to the other way in which it has been attacked a little bit. So there was a meeting with somebody from the US Treasury Department and the 5 leaders of those different countries in regard to their citizenship by investment programs. And essentially the US was putting pressure on them to tighten things up. Their statement is, you know, we recognize that it contributes to their economy and it's important, blah, 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 normal stuff. But they wanted to increase certain things. And there were 6 different new implementations in that process. Number 1 was you had a situation where now they're saying, okay, well, if, this is in no particular order, by the way, if somebody has had their passport revoked, we'll contact law enforcement to help get it back. Not a big deal. Number two, we'll involve the Financial Intelligence Unit in the local jurisdiction to assist with background checks. They basically already did this anyway, so it's really a no-brainer. It's a non-issue. Number three, you're going to have some sort of review and oversight, which is every 6 months to 2 years. Again, not really a big deal. So that was not an issue. I'll skip down to the last one. The last one, most importantly, because all the others are basically just like window dressing on what was already there, is they are not allowed to accept Russians and Belarusians. So you see the whole purpose behind this clampdown, behind this attack on behalf of the US. The US was not wanting Russians to be able to gain access. And this has been the case for a little while, that the only of the 5 programs that was still allowing Russians through, as soon as the war started in Ukraine, they pretty much all shut off access to Russians, but Grenada has been allowing them. And so now, starting March 31st, Russians will no longer be able to access the Grenada program, which leaves them with certainly fewer options and definitely not as high quality options. So bad for Russians. I will do a video in the future about some good options for Russians. One of them being there's some easier paths related to Mexico. And so that's something, if you're interested, you can reach out and contact us. But yeah, this is all part of this coordinated effort that the US is putting on to go after Russians. Interestingly, just so that people sitting at home understand, if you're born in Russia, this affects you. It doesn't matter if you were born in Russia and then raised your entire life in UK, you cannot access this program. You are barred from it. And so it's very unfair, I would argue, in that respect, but this is part of the US bias against people based on where they're born and not based on anything else particularly meaningful. So anyway, it is what it is, but what it has done clearly is decrease the value of that passport. And so today I would say it's probably better, if you're going to go and do a CBI program, to look at one of the others: Antigua, St. Kitts, Dominica, St. Lucia. We've been doing quite a lot of St. Lucia lately, as opposed to some of the others, just because it's the lowest cost at the moment. But the reality is there's good reasons for all, and I've done some videos previously on which one might be best for you. So if you're interested in buying a new passport, gaining some sort of freedom, being able to have a plan B, getting yourself out of the US, etc., please reach out to us, and I will look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.